Nandrolone, for you gym bros, commonly known as Deca, even though Deca is not the hormone, Deca's the ester attached to the hormone. Um, but it's Nandrolone for gym bros, Deca. Anyway, let's get into Nandrolone. Properties of Nandrolone. Nandrolone is a 19-nor testosterone anabolic steroid. It is very similar to test in structure, but it lacks the carbon atom at the 19th position, hence the 19 nor for none. It has very strong anabolic properties and weaker androgenic properties, which makes it an ideal steroid for muscle building and lower side effects from the androgenic side of the column. It has an androgenic rating of 37 and an anabolic rating of 125. Effects of nandrolone: increased protein synthesis, increased nitrogen retention, increased IGF-1 production, increased red blood cell count, even though I haven't seen red blood cell count go up that much with nandrolone. They say it does. Um, Inhibition of glucocorticoids, much like tren, it does. I don't think it has a strong effect as tren does. I'm just speaking from my own experience. I don't have any, scientific data to back that up. Somebody may know more than me, but I have noticed that the effect of suppressing cortisol not to be as strong. I have also not used nandrolone in a hard cut either, so I don't know. Increased bone mineral content and increased collagen synthesis. This is one thing that's unique with nandrolone versus other steroids. It makes your joints feel good. Side effects of nandrolone. It's actually one of the milder steroids. I know people. It's kind of gotten a bad reputation for being full of side effects. I don't know why. I think maybe because dudes get limp dicks from it, and therefore because you can get a limp dick from it, they don't think it's a good steroid. Uh, Tren can give you limp dicks. I don't hear people talking about Tren in the same light, and Tren is fucking awful for side effects. It does have a slight estrogenic conversion. It aromatizes at a much lower rate than testosterone, but it can cause gyno and bloating. I suspect that a lot of the side effects that people experience with nandrolone are not actually the nandrolone, but the large amounts of tests they take with nandrolone, or they don't have things in balance. Just my guess. Um, it does have a strong binding affinity with the progesterone receptor. So if you're susceptible to progestinate side effects, just keep that in mind. It can lead to gyno in some people. It seems to be much worse when combined with aromatizing hormones such as testosterone. I, you know, uh, Nandrolone does irritate I had gyno in the past. I had the glands removed, but in the past it would irritate it a little bit, not to the same degree that Tren seemed to. It can skew lipid profiles more strongly than tests, from what I understand. I haven't seen it in my blood work, but that's what I understand. And it can have, there's been some anecdotal information that it can have um, negative impact on cardiovascular health. Um, Applications for nandrolone, hands down, I think it's the best anabolic steroid for size building. Um, and if you want your joints to feel good, if you want to get big, you want great strength gains, you want great size gains without joint pain. I don't think there's anything better. To be honest with you, it's my favorite steroid for size. I just love it. I feel great when I'm on it. Nothing makes me bigger, nothing makes me fuller, nothing makes me stronger than nandrolone does. Uh, Common esters. Always disclose this. The ester does not, you're probably going to get tired of hearing me saying this. The ester does not change the underlying hormone. It changes the rate at which the hormone is released into your system. Nandrolone decanates. The half-life is 12 to 15 days. It is definitely one of the longer lasting ones. I've read studies where people have had drug tests and nandrolone has showed up like up to a year later. I don't know how true that is. I've never had to be tested for these things, but if you're a tested athlete, nandrolone's probably a poor choice. Wouldn't take it. NPP, nandrolone phenylpropionate. Half-life of 3 days. This is my preferred choice of nandrolone. I like getting it in fast, getting it out of my system fast. I just think the decanate ester is just too long. I don't particularly care for super long esters personally because I like to switch compounds. And I don't want shit that's going to stay in my system for 6 months. But that's just me. And anecdotally speaking, I don't know if there's any science behind this, but I feel like there are less side effects with um, NPP than there are DECA. Maybe it has something to do with the how long the hormone stays in your system and the doubling effect from the long ester, or it could be just all my fucking head. I don't know, but I felt like NPP doesn't have the same issues that DECA does for me, at least. It's probably all in my head, but there's thinking about it. I don't know if there's a logical reason for it, but that's just been my experience. Cycles and doses. A good beginner dose is probably 200 to 300 milligrams a week. Intermediate dose is 300 to 500 milligrams per week. Advanced dose is 750 milligrams a week. There's some bro logic that you're supposed to take more tests than you do nandrolone. I don't know. I've run nandrolone only cycles before, been just fine. So I don't know if there's any real compelling logic to that theory. But anyway, I've run nandrolone only cycles and been just fine. My experience, as I said, my favorite, hands down for size and strength. I feel awesome when I take nandrolone. Nandrolone just agrees with me. I love it. Um, Side effects that I have experienced, sometimes it can make your willy limp. Um, Sometimes your dick don't work. It does happen. I find my sex drive is just fine, but I haven't had those issues recently. I found when I ran nandrolone by itself with no test, I had no sex drive, but my dick worked just fine. When I ran nandrolone with test, I had tons of sex drive, and sometimes my dick didn't want to work. Um, Seems like the ED is at higher doses. The whole bro logic of running less nandrolone than test probably has to do with the whole ED thing. That's the theory I've heard. I don't know if it makes any sense, but maybe you're just overpowering the nandrolone with the test if you take high doses. Um, Nandrolone can cause gyno flare-ups. I did have some soreness in nipples and stuff before with nandrolone. Not like with Tren where I was full-blown lactating when I was taking Tren. Nandrolone does make me anxious sometimes, especially if when I've run nandrolone only cycles, it gives me a little bit of anxiety. Nothing debilitating, but it definitely makes me a little anxious. Um, when running with test, it does sometimes make my blood pressure go up. I prefer, as I mentioned, I prefer NPP over DECA. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please subscribe. Feel free to ask questions in the comment section. If there's any other videos you would like, let me know. And follow me on Instagram at Paul K. Barnett. Thank you.